Do you think your degree is enough for the next 10 years? Do you have a degree? If your employer offered to pay for new skills, would you actually use it? And what if the most valuable thing on your resume 5 years from now is something you haven't learned yet? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. You have now joined the education evolution. If you're anti AI, if you're pro AI, or if you're somewhere in the middle trying to figure out what all this really means, I think today's episode is going to be for you. But today's story isn't even really about artificial intelligence, it's about something much bigger. It's about whether companies believe learning should stop after they hire you. I have strong feelings about this, and we'll get to those. Today's episode is a reminder that some of the biggest education moves aren't happening inside classrooms, y'all. They're happening inside boardrooms. And today's headline comes from the biggest monopoly known to man, Amazon. Amazon recently announced it's investing $1 billion into its career choice program as part of its larger Future Ready 2030 initiative. So let's define those really quickly because you probably don't know what I'm talking about. Career choice is Amazon's education benefit that prepays tuition, certificates, and workforce training for eligible employees. What's unique is that employees can use it to prepare for careers inside Amazon or somewhere else. Future Ready 2030 is Amazon's broader workforce initiative, a $2.5 billion commitment designed to help prepare 50 million people for the future of work by expanding access to education, technical training, and career development opportunities. As part of this newest announcement, Amazon says another 500,000 employees will receive training in areas like AI, cybersecurity, software development, robotics, logistics, and renewable energy. That's what we need right now. And here's what caught my attention. Back in 2019, wow, pre-pandemic years. Huh. Anyways, Amazon set a goal of helping 100,000 employees build new skills. Instead, they ended up helping more than 700,000 people worldwide. Apparently, people wanted the opportunity. When I read this article, I didn't immediately think about Amazon. I started thinking about all the conversations people have been having about AI replacing jobs. And I wondered, what if we were asking the wrong question? Maybe the question isn't, will AI take my job? Maybe it's, am I continuing to learn while my job is changing? And to be crystal clear, this is not a moment to be insensitive to those who have literally been laid off due to an investment in AI, because that is real. But I do think this is still a valuable question to ask and explore. Because if one of the largest companies in the world is investing billions of dollars into teaching its own employees new skills, they're telling us something. Money talks. They're telling us that the skills people were hired with today might not be enough for tomorrow. And honestly, I don't think that's something to be too afraid of. I think it's something to pay attention to. I actually have a really interesting perspective on this. When I became a teacher, I went through an entire teacher preparation program. I graduated. I took those damn praxis assessments. I paid to get certified by the District of Columbia. And I got my classroom. And I still remember walking to my first year teaching and thinking, well, not even thinking, being humbled to learn how much I actually did not know. I remember literally putting together a pitch just to convince my administration to send me to professional development because I knew me and a few other new teachers needed more support. Now, fast forward to today, still work in the education industry, but a completely different type of role. And honestly, I felt the same feeling again. There are plenty of asynchronous trainings at my company. My company has so many resources for us because they've been around for a million years. But the customer space I work in is so unique that I still found myself thinking, I need someone to actually teach me how to do this well. And over the last couple of weeks, I finally had some training, y'all. And this training has really made a difference in my self efficacy and my efficiency in the work. And this is because my company has invested in helping me grow, plain and simple. That's why this Amazon story kind of stood out to me because it reminded me that the best companies do not just hire talent, they continue to develop it over time. Now, I am curious though, because everything is not always as it seems. Because who actually qualifies for a career choice? How many employees take advantage of it? How competitive is it to get into some of these programs? I don't know. These are just things I want to learn more about. But regardless of those answers, I think the biggest takeaway, it remains the same. If one of the largest employers in the world believes learning is worth $1 billion investment, what does that say about the value of continuing to learn? Maybe lifelong learning isn't just a nice phrase anymore. Maybe it's becoming one of the most valuable career skills you can have. I think this story is also bigger than Amazon. It's really about how the workplace is changing. The days of learning everything you need in college and relying on that knowledge for the next 30 years are I don't even want to say slowly fading, rapidly fading. Industries are changing, technology is forever changing. The skills employers need are changing, and the people who continue to grow alongside those changes are going to have more opportunities available to them. And also, why wouldn't you want to be a lifelong learner? Come on. So, whether it's through your employer, through an online course, through a certification, keep learning because curiosity is still free and it might just become one of your greatest competitive advantages. I'm Lindsay Black, and if this episode made you want to go bang down the doors of your job tomorrow and demand some professional development, then you feeling it just like me. So share it with someone who's thinking about changing careers, someone who's nervous about AI, or someone who's been saying they want to learn something new but just haven't started yet. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd love to hear from you. If your employer offered to pay for one new skill, what would you choose? Dang, what would I choose? And do you think companies have a responsibility to keep training their employees as technology changes? Let's talk about it. If you haven't already, subscribe and help us reach our goal of 500 subscribers so this conversation can keep growing. And until next time, keep asking questions, stay curious, and remember, learning doesn't stop when school ends. Sometimes the most valuable education you'll ever receive is the one you choose to pursue long after graduation. We'll see you next Wednesday.